Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about my updated crypto portfolio. Not even portfolio, but my updated crypto strategy given all that's happened in the last 3 weeks. We have the FTX issue and people are talking about FTX all over YouTube and the news. So I'm not going to stress on it too much, but you got that. You got the Genesis issue. You just got upcoming regulation coming on and just a lot of unknowns, not to mention a possible recession next year that, financial analysts are talking about. So how am I going to prepare with my crypto investments? That's what I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to talk about what led to my decision. So if that's something that interests you, please stay tuned to the end of the video to see what I want to do and what I decided to do. And if you find any of the content of any substance, and if you learned anything, at least one, please consider hitting that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more of my content. All right, let's get into it. So looking at the heat map here, we've been going sideways basically. You see green, but if you look at the percentages, it's not much. For instance, Bitcoin is up 0.32, ETH up 0.34, even BNB is up 0.5. So we're in the bear market. You'll see little bumps here and there, but nothing to go crazy about. So if we look at the coin market cap, top 10 here, just looking at the activity, you see in the 7-day, Bitcoin is up 3.4, ETH up 3.6. Other than that, solid movers will be Polygon Matic up 8.5. If we look at the 24-hour volume of these coins here, you see Polygon Matic up 230 million, 24-hour activity. Cardano's 161 million. Doge 525, so there's been some activity there. XRP, but overall, as far as big pumps, Polygon looks like for the last 7 days they're the winner here with over 8.5%. Now, if we look at CoinMarketCap 11 to 20, just seeing what's going on there. You see Polkadot with a slight little pump, 3%. Litecoin was been on a tear for this month and last part of last month. They're up 3.7%. Solana up 6%. Uniswap up 12%. Avalanche up 8%, possibly with the news with their deal with Alibaba and cloud services. Chainlink, I think they'd be up even higher since they're about to implement some staking on their network, but down 3.99%. So again, just to fit with the theory and the vibe of this video here, we have tremendous headwinds in the crypto market. We're in the bear market right now, and this is the time you want to strategize and get ready for that next bull run. So let's get into the FUD. It's a lot to go around, but let's start. All right, so looking at the U.S. economy, over here in the U.S., we had a jobs market or jobs report last week, and that came on the heels of a better than expected inflation reading report. Inflation went down, and we got that news on a Thursday, and the markets reacted positively to that because they think, hey, if inflation's cooling, then the Fed, they can calm down on their rate hikes, and the markets started booming. Shortly thereafter, on Friday, we got the U.S. jobs report, and everyone was thinking, well, inflation cool, and all this tightening that the Fed's doing, then the job market should be cooling as well. Unfortunately, job market remained strong at 3.7%, remained unchanged. And because of that, the markets didn't like that. And, everyone's trying to predict what the Fed's going to do next. They see that. They're saying, well, he's going to have to continue to be aggressive because, in his meeting, he said one of the objectives is to make the job market a little bit more competitive and not as strong as it currently is. And that's going to help with inflation. And getting this news didn't help. Because of that, markets went down, and so did crypto. Prior to that Thursday, Bitcoin is actually trending up towards 17,000. It was remaining in that 16,000 range for a while. But right now we're teetering on 16,000, low 17,000. That's where we're at with Bitcoin. Then we have crypto lender Genesis allegedly owes 900 million to Gemini clients. This also wasn't good. Now, Genesis was impacted by the FTX collapse. So it's kind of the contagion effect. Genesis and the parent company Digital Currency Group allegedly owes 900 million to Gemini clients. Now, this is impacting Gemini Earn, not the Gemini exchange itself. So Gemini Earn is basically where you can purchase your crypto and then you can lend it out to get interest. I was seeing Polygon at one point was, 3% if you have Polygon, Bitcoin and everything like that. You earn an APR over a year, and they were lending that out to you get interest on it. Well, apparently, since this happened, Since November 16th, Gemini earn kind of ceased, and you were unable to do so while they worked all this out on the back end. Gemini says they're fine. And on November 29th, they announced they have a Trust Center dashboard showing the metrics for funds held by Gemini and on other exchanges on Gemini's behalf. So you add this up, with the FTX stuff, it's just not looking good for crypto, and people are losing trust in exchanges. And because of that, in my prior videos, I always talked about, self-custody and making sure you keep your crypto off of these exchanges. That's the best way, because you don't have to worry about all the stuff that's going on right now. You know that you believe in your project, you believe in crypto, take it off the exchange, and if something goes down, that's not your problem because you safeguarded your property. Also, we have BlockFi that filed for bankruptcy, and basically is due to the FTX. BlockFi already had issues after, the 3 Arrows Capital and the Terra issues, and then they were in the process of faltering and filing bankruptcy. Then FTX came in and said, hey, we'll take care of it, and now FTX fell down, and obviously, like dominoes, BlockFi had no other choice, no one else to buy the company and their debts, so they're also filing for bankruptcy. Then we have ETH. ETH was deemed always to be a safe asset. Gary Gensler in the beginning, as well as CFTC chair, they always said that Bitcoin and ETH were considered commodities and won't be scrutinized or classified as a security. However, now the CFTC chair has a change of heart. And CFTC stands for Commodities and Futures Trading Commission. The chairman is Rostin Binham, and he's done a 180. So now he's basically saying, in a recent interview, Fortune magazine reported this, he said that he can only see Bitcoin listed as or classified as a commodity, and ETH and other cryptocurrencies are not. So what does that mean for ETH? I don't know. If ETH is considered a security, I think ETH's big enough. The ecosystem's so big that it'll still prevail. However, most people like the open sourceness of ETH. And if you label it as a security, then it's like a corporation, a regulation coming in. They have to report this and that. And a lot of projects on ETH may not survive. So it could impact the price of ETH. So, we got to wait to see what happens with this. But I found this very interesting. What I also find interesting is that the XRP case against the SEC, XRP is basing their whole defense on the SEC previously said that ETH was deemed a commodity. And if ETH is deemed a commodity, then they should as well. What happens if now, there's a change of tune and they say, well, ETH's a security? What happens to that case? I don't know. It could all be just me thinking outside of the box, but if they lose, then that's a bigger black eye on the crypto market. However, I believe in ETH, and I also believe that XRP is making a strong argument, and I hopefully for the whole space that they pull this out and beat the SEC and put them in their place. So let's see what happens with that. Also, Nexo announced yesterday that they are leaving the U.S. due to regulations. Another exchange, but not good. They're saying that they're not accepting new registrations and operations. Existing customers will eventually be wound down. So basically, if you have any of your stuff on Nexo, I know some of you probably do, it's probably a good idea to clear that account. Just, you don't want to be left, without your money or your funds later on. They're giving you fair warning that they are leaving the U.S. So that's what we got. Okay, next I want to talk about the survey that was recently completed in the U.S. Involving, U.S. adults basically about their thoughts on the Bitcoin price following the FTX collapse. So this survey was conducted by business intelligence firm Morning Consult, conducted during the dates of 11/15 to 11/17/22. And they believe that Bitcoin price will drop to 11,526 about 6 months after the FTX collapse. That's what they're thinking. All the negative press and everything like that, they're thinking that the price will be dropping that low. Survey also found that obviously crypto owners are more positive about the crypto price versus people that don't own crypto or Bitcoin. Obviously, if you own Bitcoin, you're paying attention somewhat to the markets. You know what Bitcoin is all about. You know what crypto is all about. So obviously, you'll be more optimistic than someone who just hears about it here and there on the news. So I found that survey to be interesting. On top of that, we had another company, Standard Chartered. They predict that Bitcoin could plunge 70% to 5,000 if a possible 2023, if there is a recession or we have another black swan. They believe that there are a number of factors that can get the price down to 5,000. It's important to note that although this is headline catching, they did say that they do not believe that this will happen. But in the likely event, if things play out negatively the way it could happen, don't be surprised if the price does go down to 5,000. Found that very interesting. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. We do have good news, and that's why I wanted to make the video. Get all the rough things out the way, but we have to know about them. As investors, you always have to know the good and bad so you can make the most intelligent, appropriate decision for your portfolio. Fidelity is now offering crypto to its retail investors. Now that's big, and I'm going to show you in a couple of slides later why that's big, because Fidelity had a change of heart. Now, they were offering it to, their, upper echelon of customers, but now they're offering it to retail. So Fidelity is having a change of heart. And as one of the big financial institutions, they are in charge of a lot of 401ks for companies, a lot of individuals. So they have a pulse on the financial market. And for them opening it up to crypto, it shows that crypto is here to stay. There is definitely some adoption here. So I want to talk about these institutions, how in the beginning, the big financial institutions just dismissed Bitcoin, dismissed crypto as it was nothing. Now let's see how they're changing their tune. And I found this very interesting by Sophia Zaller, and she's on Twitter. I'm going to credit her for this, but this is very interesting. BlackRock, one of the big financial institutions in this country, used to say Bitcoin is an index for money laundering. Now they launched a Bitcoin trust. Morgan Stanley said Bitcoin's real value could be zero. What are they saying now? Now they launched access to 3 funds enabling ownership to Bitcoin. Interesting. JP Morgan, and we know Jamie Dimon, we love him, how he continues to FUD Bitcoin and crypto, but on the back end, he's all in it. But anyway, on paper, he says Bitcoin is a fraud that would eventually blow up. Then JP Morgan says investors could make 1% of their portfolios in Bitcoin. Now we have Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs says 5 reasons why Bitcoin is not an asset class nor a suitable investment. That's what they said back in the day. Now, Goldman Asset Management arm files to offer crypto-related ETF. PayPal, back in the day, Bitcoin is useless as a payment mechanism, ridiculous as a store of value. Now you can enable its customers to buy, hold, and sell crypto, all on the app. Now you could pay me in Bitcoin if I want it. I could send you Bitcoin. But back in the day, they were not all about it. They didn't like it. So it's funny to see their change of heart now. Visa says we won't process transactions in Bitcoin because it's not a payment system. Now, Visa says crypto-linked card usage hits 2.5 billion in first quarter of 2022. Deutsche Bank. Bitcoin is too volatile to be a reliable store of value. Now, Bitcoin is too important to ignore. Lastly, we have ING. Why Bitcoin is destined to become a niche asset. Now, they're developing technology to help clients safely store digital assets. Interesting. Also, another chart that I saw, basically by CoinShares, just showing that the price of Bitcoin through 2038, you have the pessimistic value capture, the base value capture, and optimistic. Either way, you see the trajectory is going up, with the optimistic hitting 900 or up to 950,000 by 2038 for one Bitcoin. Even at a pessimistic value, you have Bitcoin hitting about 250,000 by 2038. What's the real range going to be? No one knows, but I think it might be somewhere in the middle. You hear Cathie Wood and people like that saying that Bitcoin could hit 1 million within that time, and that'd be awesome. So I always view Bitcoin as a store of value and as somewhat as basically my retirement plan, and for a 10-year frame that, within 10 years I could look at that and that could be my retirement thing. These altcoins though, altcoins is what's going to get you the bag, and that's what could turn you into a millionaire if you pick the right ones and you do the right research. So lastly, we have on the good news, and most people will say this is bad news, but Cramer, typically in the crypto space, he's hot and cold. When crypto's hot, he's all about it. When it's cold, he's like, hey, I told you so, crypto's bad. But he's bearish on crypto again, and us in the crypto community, when Cramer says no to crypto, we say yes, it's good. It's a good indicator. So basically, he told investors to sell their crypto before 2023 because he believes there's going to be a recession, and it's definitely going to impact the crypto space. Throughout this interview, or when he, the show, when he's talking to the investors, he kept referring to crypto as speculative assets or so-called digital assets. He said the 2023 recession can impact projects like Ripple, Cardano, Matic, and Doge, and they may go to zero. He also talked about tether depegging back in May 2022 following the collapse. And then he also talked about crypto boosters, basically keeping or propping the crypto market up, similar to what they did for the dot-com bubble, for bad assets or bad stocks. So whenever Jim has something to say about crypto, you do the opposite. And typically it's been faring well. I think there's a chart out there showing, what he says versus what the price action is after that. So I think that's good news. So basically, in conclusion, we got, I talked about a lot of bad. I talked about a lot of positives as well. And, this is what I'm doing. And my goals aren't your goals, but I'm just letting you know how I'm thinking. And this is what I plan to do going forward. Right now, there's a black eye on the crypto space. If you look at the media, sometimes if they can find anything negative to say about crypto, that's what they're going to harp on. So FTX, they've been talking about that forever. They talk about all the big celebrities that lost money in FTX, your Tom Brady, Steph Curry. And that's not good. People see that, and especially, your relatives, the people that don't know much about it, that's what they see. And that's all the new money that could have come into the space definitely now are, very apprehensive in doing so. There's a contagion that's going on with FTX. We don't know how many more shoes are going to drop. I just want to wait and see before I go all in on crypto. Could there be another exchange that can fall? We never thought we'd be in this place right now where we say FTX was, but they were the darlings, one of the upcoming exchanges that we thought would take over and be ahead of Coinbase. So you never know. Never say never. I think the collapse, though, one of the positives is that it would kind of spearhead and speed up U.S. regulation. And U.S. regulation is good and bad because the regulation can start labeling some things securities, and some projects may fail if that happens. But on the positive side, if things are regulated, big money could come into the space. Big money coming into the space means prices will increase. And then we have the recession, 2023. A lot of financial people are saying that we could get into one and the Fed may bring us into a recession. I don't know if that's going to happen, but these are things that I have to consider. And, crypto never was really, crypto came about because of a recession, but we were never established in a recession. So how's that going to impact prices? I don't know. So right now I'm DCAing 50% into Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin, anything under $20,000 is great. And I'm just DCAing 50% of that in. And the other 50%, I'm saving that into stable coins. Because if all these things happen, and for the worst, if things really do turn and they're down, I would hate to be in a situation where I didn't have any money to get in. Let's say, ETH got to something under $800, or if it was lower than that, I like to have some money to get into that. Or even in my favorite projects, that I talked about in previous videos, and I'll link it to this video. If those projects were dead dirt cheap and I had no money to DCA in, that'd be upsetting. So I think Bitcoin's very safe. We already know it's a commodity. They labeled it as such, so I don't think it'd be impacted too much by regulation. I think only good things can happen if Bitcoin is regulated. So I'm 50% into that, and I'm DCAing into stable coins for now. And I think around third quarter of 2023, I should have a good pulse of what's happening. And then I'll be ready to start going, deep into my favorite bags and building up my bags of my altcoins. So that's all I got today. And I hope everyone is having a good night. Stay safe. And until the next video, I'll see you then. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you like the content. Until later. Bye.